Hello and welcome to News Round, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. The headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari accuses state governors of misappropriating local government allocation, says this is impoverishing the people. Channels Television emerges 15th time winner of the Best Television Station of the Year at the Nigerian Media Merit Award. Minister of Finance says Nigeria is not broke as oil-producing states receive 1.98 trillion naira 13% oil derivation backlog. And from the foreign scene, China faces intense protests against the country's strict lockdown restrictions. A news round kicks off with the accusation that state governors are responsible for misappropriating local government allocation. And this is coming from President Muhammadu Buhari, who believes this is impoverishing the people. The president stated this at a presidential parley for members of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies.
President Muhammadu Buhari is holding this presidential parley with 90 participants at the 2022 Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. They've just completed the 10-month course in Jos, the Plateau State capital.
Thank you. Kindly be seated.
The reform of local government structure was central at this parley as recommendations were put forward by the participants behind closed doors. After committing his support to the nation's foremost think tank group, the president decided to speak extempore, where he bemoaned the level of corruption at the sub-national level.
The treatment of local governments. What they did, this is my personal experience. If the money from the federal government to state government, say it's 100 million. Let's put it 100 million. 50 million will be sent to the chairman with a letter that he will sign that he received 100 million. The governor will pocket the balance and shared it with whoever he wanted. And then the chairman of the local government will see how much he must pay in salaries to help goes to development. Money for the salaries will be given and the balance will put in his pocket. This was happening. This is Nigeria. It's a terrible thing. You cannot say the person who was doing that was not educated. He was a qualified lawyer. He was experienced. Yet he participated in this type of corruption. The fundamental thing is personal integrity. May God help us.
The optimistic participants, expected to officially graduate by the weekend in Kuru, Jos, share their areas of expectations.
The report is calling on the state houses of assembly to please do their own part in approving these bills so that they can get the necessary approval required for it to pass at the National Assembly.
Now, there's been several talks about how to improve governance at the sub-nationals and local government levels. And the president's caution today to advance personal integrity also comes at a time the nation is in dire need of a system restructuring. So Nigerians actually now wait to see how recommendations proffered today will translate into actual development in the coming days. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And in a swift reply to the president, Governor Nyesom Wike and his Benue State counterpart, Samuel Ortom, are asking President Muhammadu Buhari to name the governors that are pilfering from local government funds. Both governors were speaking during the commissioning of an internal road in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State.
It's the commissioning of the internal and ring road projects in Igbo-Shimini community in the Rumueme Kingdom, where the Port Harcourt campus of the Nigerian Law School is located in Obiakpo local government area.
Ezenwa Wike, Commander of the Order of the Niger.
Addressing the people, Governor Wike promises to do more in infrastructure development and employment following the support for his administration.
The point remains that very soon we will employ 5,000 youths into the civil service. And you must have your own quota. Do you understand me? You must have it. And see, when people say, because you are not supporting me, must I employ my enemy? Will I employ my enemy?
Governor Wike also seizes the opportunity to absolve himself from the accusation by President Muhammadu Buhari that governors are misappropriating local government funds.
I want to challenge Mr. President, you're a leader, and we believe as leader, you must come out and tell Nigerians who are those committing this offense. You said the governors are taking local government funds. I want to say, in the name of Almighty God, I've never touched local government fund one day. I have never, and I have no reason to do that.
Before commissioning the project, Governor Ortom also distanced himself from the president's claim and challenges the anti-graft agencies to prove him wrong.
It is a logical fallacy to say that all governors are criminals. All governors are stealing from local government. I joined Governor Wike to say it from 2015. Let EFCC come in. Let ICPC come. Let every other agency that can unearth this, as far as Benue State is concerned, let them bring it out. So that we know the people, there is no point generalizing that all of us are evil people. I commissioned this ring road in the name of the Father, name of the Son, name of the Holy Spirit.
The road is then commissioned. The approximately 6-kilometer long road is expected to ease traffic in the Obiakpo metropolis and improve the socio-economic well-being of the people.
And now to the 2023 elections, and this time it's no other than the president who says he would like to leave behind the legacy of free, fair and transparent election, not just in Nigeria, but in the entire West African sub-region. This time, the president was addressing delegates at this year's second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja.
President Muhammadu Buhari joins his African counterpart, President of Guinea-Bissau and Chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, Mr. Umaru Embalo, among other ECOWAS representatives at the opening session of the ECOWAS Parliament. As Parliament convened, the President harped on the critical need to address the shared challenges of insecurity and political instability, especially ahead of the upcoming elections.
Let me see this opportunity to reiterate my commitment to free, fair, and transparent elections and smooth transitions. This is one legacy. This is one legacy that I want to bequeath, not only to Nigeria, but to the region as a whole. I therefore urge you to perform your sacred responsibility of considering the community budget with diligence while bearing in mind the sacrifice of various countries in the payment of community levy.
As in the first ordinary session of the Parliament held in July, Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Mr. Sidi Mohamed Tunis, appeals to members to ensure that ongoing hardships are mitigated through greater collaboration and political will.
I am, however, convinced that to deliver for our own people, we must engage deeply and work together towards a shared future for each of our countries and the ECOWAS region as a whole.
The authority of heads of
President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, urged members to reinforce initiatives towards tackling threats.
It is towards this goal that we have identified 4 strategic objectives that would be the focus of our management in the next 4 years. 1, enhanced peace and security in the region. 2, deeper economic and social integration. 3, good governance. And 4, inclusive and sustainable development.
Before the end of the session, President Buhari assured the ECOWAS parliamentarians that the groundbreaking ceremony of the ECOWAS Commission's headquarters, constructed by the Chinese government, will hold on December 5. From the International Conference Center, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And still on electoral matters, as the Independent National Electoral Commission is once again expressing serious concern over threats to the conduct of the 2023 general elections owing to the incessant attacks on its facilities. The chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, said this at a meeting with members of the African Union Special Pre-Electoral Mission who were on a visit to assess preparations for the general elections.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, receives the audience, members of the African Union Special Pre-Electoral Mission at the INEC headquarters in Abuja.
Good morning, National Commissioners, Secretary to the Commission.
The African Union delegation is here on a solidarity visit and also to find out the level of preparations for the 2023 general elections.
We would like to hear from you how much we are prepared for this exciting election, how much consensus is there and emerging. We are here on a supportive mission, really. And we are very keen to ensure that we have the best possible, peaceful and credible process.
The visit of the African Union delegation is happening barely 3 months before the general elections, and the Independent National Electoral Commission is raising serious concern about recent attacks and arsons on its facilities.
In spite of the progress that we are making, the Commission is still concerned about the security situation generally in the country, particularly the incidence of attacks on our facilities. In the last 3 weeks, 3 of our local government offices were attacked in 3 different states of the Federation. And the last one occurred yesterday in the southeastern part of the country. Now, although there were no casualties, but quite a number of the materials already acquired and delivered for the elections have been lost.
Nigeria's 2023 general elections will begin next year, with the presidential election holding on February the 25th. The INEC chairman informs the African Union delegation that it will deploy the biometric voter accreditation system, otherwise known as BVAS, during the elections, and also transmit polling unit results electronically.
You're watching News Round on Channels Television, and still to come, Channels Television wins big again for the 15th time as it emerges the Best Television of the Year at the Nigeria Media Merit Award. We have details of this story for you and more after the break. Join us again. Welcome back. Your multiple award-winning station, Channels Television, has moved a step further by winning the Best Television Station of the Year for a record 15th time. This award was announced at the 30th edition of the Nigeria Media Merit Award, NMMA, which took place in Lagos.
It's an evening event to reward hard work and ingenuity in the media landscape, and this year's edition is special. It's the 30th of the series. The trustee chair, a veteran in the industry, shares his experience with the audience as a war journalist himself, but then reflects on the brutal killing of 2 young journalists during the Liberian War. He says journalism is a challenging profession.
Members of the profession have worked assiduously to defend freedom of the press, which provides the oxygen that keeps democracy as a system, its values, and its institutions alive. If free press dies, democracy shall inevitably go with it.
For a 30-year tradition, the pedigree and credibility of the award have been designed and sustained over the years with a list of criteria to guide the assessors.
The level of adherence to rules of the regulatory body, the percentage of local content, response to financial obligations internally and to regulatory bodies, public acceptance and perception of the media house, quality of programming and transmission, quality of reproduction in the case of newspapers, level of professionalism in content, objectivity, fairness, and balance. Finally, industrial harmony within the organization.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is the chief host and was accompanied to the event by a large entourage. He urges the media to exercise a high level of professionalism as they go about their business.
We are in call for great circumspection and great fidelity to the timeless principles of journalism. Accuracy is critical, fairness at all times, balanced reportage, integrity, I imagine, is critical at all times. Your standards must never be lowered for anything, and definitely not in this age in which social media and internet has enabled the easy amplification of fake news and malicious report, hate speeches that are intended to give undue political advantage or to divide our society or even derail this our democracy.
For the Latif Jakonde Prize for Political Reporter of the Year are...
The award nominations are called, most of which are in the print category.
The Punch.
Then the broadcast media. The awards range from the reporter, presenter, producer of the year to the station of the year.
Awakon, TVC.
NBC Prize for Television Station of the Year.
And the best is saved for the last. The Best TV Station of the Year award.
The winner is Channels Television.
For the champion, stand up, stand up, stand up. For the champion, stand up.
I'd like, on behalf of the chairman, Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, and his lovely wife, to say a big thank you to the organizers of this event. We didn't see this coming, because we've won this award for 14 times. This is the 15th time we'll be winning this award. We'd like to say that we are dedicating it to the staff of Channels TV, people who have worked so hard for this over the years. This award is for them. I thank you all, and I thank you indeed.
The NMMA has over 1,000 alumni who have been found worthy of recognition for their hard work in various media organizations across different platforms over the years. And for many, this award is a tonic for more work. Dari Idu, Channels Television News.
Congratulations once again to the Channels Television family. Nigeria is not broke. That's the submission from the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed. She added that a total of 1.98 trillion naira was distributed as share of the 13% oil derivation backlog paid to oil-producing states. The minister stated this at the 6th edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari scorecard, organized by the Ministry of Information in Abuja.
Under the Ministries of Information and Culture.
The 6th edition of the presentation of President Muhammadu Buhari scorecard features the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed. She goes straight to present a review of the economy under the administration since 2015, stating emphatically that the country is not broke.
And recall that we have witnessed 2 recessions during the tenure of this administration. The non-oil revenue share of funding the federal government, we've been able to succeed in turning it around. The non-oil revenue used to contribute between 30 to 35% to the federal budget. Now it is 73% financing of the federal budget, and that's very significant. That is to emphasize that the non-oil sector is growing and contributing significant, and that is what is really holding the economy now, that it is the oil sector that is lagging behind.
She goes on to give a breakdown of the disbursements of funds to the 3 tiers of government from the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee since 2015, especially the allocations to oil-producing states.
With regards to support to subnational governments, the ministry has, with the support of His Excellency the President, been able to disburse 5.03 trillion naira and an additional $3.4 billion to states by the federal government over the lifetime of this administration. And I'll come to the details of how this has happened. Each of these payments has distinct payment terms. Some of them are grants, some of them are very soft loans with very low interest rates as well as very long tenors to enable the states to manage their economies well and contribute to the growth of the nation.
On capital budget releases for the 2022 budget, the minister says that the government has released 1.7 trillion naira out of the 2.7 trillion naira.
A news round comes to a close in China as the country is facing intensified protests against the country's strict lockdown restrictions. Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian says the country is following dynamic zero COVID policy and that the government has been making adjustments based on the reality on the ground.
There have been more protests over the weekend as hundreds of people take to the streets over China's stringent COVID restrictions. The protests spread to cities across the country, including the capital, Beijing. The wave of disobedience is unprecedented in mainland China since President Xi Jinping assumed power a decade ago, as frustration mounts over his signature zero-COVID policy nearly 3 years into the pandemic. The COVID measures are also exacting a heavy toll on the world's second-largest economy. Chanting slogans, protesters have added other demands into the mix, such as freedom of press and speech. Even in Wuhan, where the coronavirus has been said to have originated, large numbers of protesters took to the streets. This video obtained by Reuters showed hundreds of protesters marching on streets and tearing down barriers surrounding compounds under lockdown. In some footage, dozens of uniformed policemen locked arms to form a line facing off the protesters, chanting slogans and singing the Chinese national anthem. Over in Shanghai on Sunday, police detained protesters. A fire on Thursday at a residential high-rise building in the city of Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang region, triggered the protest after videos of the incident posted on social media led to accusations that lockdowns were a factor in the blaze that killed 10 people, but the government denies this. People jostled with the police trying to disperse them. People held up blank sheets of paper as an expression of protest.
Democracy will never die! Democracy will never die!
Chanting from Sydney to Shanghai, democracy will never die, about 200 protesters gathered outside Sydney Town Hall earlier today to show support for people protesting China's stringent COVID restrictions.
I've come down here to support all Chinese people here in Australia and all Chinese people in Shanghai at Foxconn, at Urumqi, the Uyghur Muslims, to say that workers in China deserve freedom, they deserve democracy, they deserve fair pay. And as a worker here in Australia, I stand in support of all workers across the world. And we as Australians have to be a voice for China.
And even in London, all in a show of solidarity.
This is a protest and a vigil in solidarity with the people who were killed in the fire in Urumqi in Xinjiang, where because of the zero COVID lockdown and because of the bureaucratic control of the government, the fire engines couldn't actually get to put out the fire, and as a result many people died, and also the fact that, for example, the fire exits were sealed as part of this brutal zero COVID policy.
In the meantime, China's western Xinjiang region has loosened some COVID restrictions in its capital.
And with that, we end News Round today. Thank you for watching. We have more updates on bulletins at the top of the hour. I am Bukola Samuel Wenimo. Bye for now.